And welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast right now. This is your host, Chris. We got my boy, Jesse. What's up, dude?
What up? How's it going?
Pretty good, man, because we have special guest Andy of Melted Bodies. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Hello.
Oh, man.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Good night. You leave the interview.
Good Armageddon. I don't know.
Crazy times today here on, what day is it, the 7th? Man, I'm losing track of time right now.
Yeah, no.
That's what happens when you sit in a bedroom for all of us, quarantined on a never-ending loop.
Oh, yeah.
Month of October, I was inside the whole time. But so you're calling in from Los Angeles right now. How is it over there?
It was supposed to be pouring rain, and my girlfriend was like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to wake up to like pouring rain, and I'm just gonna run out there because we like never get water."
Yeah.
And then we woke up and it's like probably 75, 78 degrees, blazing sun.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we have nothing to complain about.
Dude, I like living in Jersey. I always kind of bitch about. I love like hot weather, but I will say I don't know what I would do if you just eliminated all seasons completely and just only had hot weather. I feel like does that get taxing where you just never get rain? You get like once a month or something like that, right?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Colorado, so I'm definitely used to like.
Oh wow.
Oh, it's winter. Oh, it's fall. In LA. You're like, oh, it's like 4 degrees cooler. It must be winter. Like, so. But if you're gonna have one consistent, weather, like, there's a reason why rent is, through the fucking roof, and everybody's flocking to LA because it really doesn't, I miss the cold sometimes, but I don't know about you guys because you still have to deal with it so much, but I do not miss like having to scrape my car off. Like, I do not miss having to wait to like defrost the windows and like that like the little things like that where I'm like, dude, I don't miss doing that, growing up in Colorado with all the snow at all.
Well, now with automatic start with cars, I feel like most of my block, if you go outside, all the cars are started already from inside, and it just across the whole thing like that. Where I'm out there, I'm like trudging through, getting, starting.
I just got an electric start. I'm so happy. I was like, finally. I didn't get the backup cam. I was like, damn it! But I got
that backup cam.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, and I was like I could have got swindled the one time I was looking at cars. I was like, "What do you want, sir?" And I was just like, "I want a backup cam." It's like that comes with all cars. I was like, then sell me, because it's like I'll buy anything. But then I just bought a car from someone I knew, and I was like, "Oh, damn, I don't have a backup cam."
I own a car that's too old to have a backup cam, and I actually, I went on Amazon, and you can get them for like really, really nice ones. I think it was like less than $50, and I paid some guy like $40 or $50 to install it, and it's been amazing.
That's dope. That's good to know, because I heard it was I Googled it. I was like, I might have to buy one, but then I saw this cheap one that works with your app of your phone. It's like you just like put a sticker like on like your like license plate. I was like, how is this supposed to work? How am I supposed to trust this thing?
You're just duct taping your iPhone to your license plate. Like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna work very long.
Nah, it's terrible. I just go really slow. It's like, please don't hit the car. Please don't hit the car. Please don't hit the car.
You got to get one of those bumper buddies.
Yeah, I owned like an old Jeep forever, like an old Jeep, like a '79 Jeep CJ. It was like a box on wheels, and it had the full steel bumpers on the front and back, and like I didn't give a shit in that thing. It was like,
oh, that's awesome. All right, dude. Well, I checked out your music, and dude, it's dope as fuck. I know, good transition, but I really want to talk about this. I was really excited because, like, I never really. It's awesome.
Music.
Oh yeah, only some though. Only some. Okay. Kid. It was dope as hell. But I will say, also, I just like I feel like a lot of this like electronic kind of like avant-garde kind of music. I feel like at least some of the stuff I listen to, I'd never seen it like have as many heavy parts as you guys do. Like you guys hit the whole spectrum. And I kind of really like that. Like, what are some of your influences to get that kind of sound? Like, especially for this last album.
Well, number one, thank you. That's very kind of you. And number two is I'm actually really happy that you brought that exact point up, because we've, doing the music that we do. For me, growing up on like tons of death metal and heavy metal, and then moving into like tons of other genres as I grew up. For me, I was always like, oh, I'll challenge anybody. Like, you might love our music, you might hate it, but like, you can't say that it isn't heavy, and I can point out parts throughout the album and put it up against, any subgenre of heavy metal. and it'll be heavy. So I'm glad that you said that, because that was like, some people are like, I like it, but it's a little too kooky, and I don't know if it's heavy enough. So I'm like, fuck you, what have you been listening to? Let's talk about it. Let me play it. So
accolades. What do you like?
I don't know. Influences literally are across the board, man. Like, I know that's a cliche answer, but like, I started this project. I literally started this on my own a while ago as like a fun thing, where I had a Talking Heads album and a Cannibal Corpse album. It was The Bleeding. I like got their like box set like years ago, and they would like, they sent all the like cover art like just printed out without the logo, and I was like, what if I like just took those, wrote a couple of songs of like Talking Heads meets Cannibal Corpse.
That's kind of dope.
And I love that sort of post-punk new wave, with Ecstasy and obviously Devo, and then I grew up on tons of like the groove metal and death metal, the heyday of 90s of sort of like Morbid Angel and Deicide and Cannibal Corpse. And then I was like super into like, in middle school I like loved Pantera, and Down and like all that sort of like groove stuff. And so I think no matter what, those definitely have an influence, whether I realize it or not, because it's so ingrained in me. But then, as you get older, you sort of move into other genres, and that's, I think, where some of that, the punk influences come from. And then obviously there's a pop sensibility to the songs where they're, at points all over the place, but still accessible. And for me, that was a big part. I always say like the song is what's most important. Like sometimes you can just have like a cool vibe. You can have a cool thing, but you might walk away being like, I don't know if it's a song. It's just like, it's a vibe, which some bands do like really, really well, but as far as like a pop sensibility, and I only mean that as in like, a Western culture song structure. I always thought that's important, because that's what gives, songs legs and wants you to keep coming back, is that you want to keep coming back and like hearing a new layer, but it also is like, I could just put it on and drive and like, sing or scream along with it, or, whatever. So did that answer your question? I just went off on a tangent.
Well, no, it makes a lot of sense, because like you said, a lot of people do say like, well, I got influences all over the place, but it's like, well, might have a lot of influences, but your music doesn't exactly always show it like some people. But your music specifically, like, I'll believe it. When you say I have a lot of influences, like, well, it makes a lot of sense, because it just goes like, car will just speed through like 4 genres immediately. It's like, what the fuck? Like, and it all makes sense too. It's not just some kid like, oh, do I really, like you said, like I like Cannibal Corpse and I like jazz, but I like Talking Head, and then just like run through it. But it's like, that wasn't good. It's like, no, you guys do it really very well, which is also really cool with genre bending. It's like one of my favorite parts is seeing how well bands do it, because it's also like you can learn a jazz beat, you can learn like a pop beat, you can learn like your reggae beat and just throw it in there. But it's like, can you really make it work and actually make it sound like you could have made, a Talking Head song while also being able to make a Cannibal Corpse song, and what it sound like when you put it together? Like you said, it's like,
and then the third part of that's the hardest part, is like, can you do that and not just sound like you took a Talking Heads chorus and Cannibal Corpse intro and stapled them together? And I think I'd like to think that we've done that pretty well, for the most part. I'm hypercritical, so I know parts, we're all listening back even a month after the album's been released. I'm like, okay, I could have made that better. But yeah, I just like that. I like to push those, and try to do it, because I think I would get bored. I would just get too bored if I only was doing, and as you guys know, especially in the genre of heavy metal, whatever that means anymore, it's simultaneously like the craziest genre of music, but at the other time it's also the most like conservative and like segmented, and like people get, like true metalheads get rubbed the wrong way if it's like, well, we did it, we used a different tuning on this, and then they're like, what? You're not supposed to do it. It needs to be, an E standard or a half step down, and you're not supposed to use any of your top 4 strings, and I don't know.
What's your that's always the funny one when the genres meet. And it's like, I like kind of across the board a lot of metal music, and it's just like, I like my technical prog music, but I also like the top string only beat down, like just kind of go to town. Yeah, just like, and they're like, he only uses the top 2 strings. I'm like, who gives a shit? It's a good song.
Exactly.
I don't give a fuck. Like, I like Amos' lyrics. He uses the whole damn guitar, but it's still like, yeah, Max Cavalera, exactly. It's like, tell me those songs aren't groovy and good.
Oh,
like,
what?
Exactly, man. Yeah, and
the top 2 strings.
Riff, like, a riff is a riff. Like, anybody that are like, oh, I don't know if I'm like, dude, name me one of your favorite guitar riffs, and then I'll be like, here's how it's played. They're like, oh, that's really simple, like.
Well, my one friend had this realization. He went back and listened to a bunch of Korn, and my friend, he likes simpler music, but he just has it in his head. He plays guitar. He's like, bro, I could have wrote a riff like that. I was like, he's like, dude, all Korn's riffs are so simple. I was like, motherfucker, it's like a lot of good riffs are simple. Who gives a shit? They're good. And it's also the way the song works with each other. It's like I always hate when it's like, oh, it's simple, I could do it. It's like, you could play it, but did you make it? It's a confidence too. There's things I would never do, or even if I was playing, because I don't play guitar, I play drums. But if I was playing with playing with a guitarist and he did, I'm like, I don't trust that, bro. I don't think we could pull this off. But then I can hear a band in the next room over do the exact same thing. I'm like, bro, that's kind of dope. I was like, I don't know. It's like decision making. It's like you got to lean into it. You're like, yeah, no, let's put all of our chips on this, this one. Let's go.
I feel that always happens with me with dissonant chords and stuff like that. Those alarm clock riffs or those chaotic, spastic riffs or whatever. I'll be playing that on guitar and be like, it doesn't work. But another band, does it, and I'm like, oh shit.
Dillinger's whole career. If I was playing with Greg or freaking anybody from anybody from Dillinger, I'd be like, dude, that's not gonna work. I would have got kicked out, and Dillinger would have never happened. I would have been like, yeah, no, thank God I wasn't there, because they made some dope songs.
Was there?
And that's all that those dissonant, that dissonant, where people are like, oh, it's jazz, and then I'm like, well, it's only jazz in the sense of that it's just not using root fifth and and obviously the rhythms, and as I feel like for Dillinger and even for Korn, people were just looking for I just want it to be more dissonant. I want less melodies, especially with Dillinger. I want less melody and more chaos. And then with Korn, for me being so young when that first album came out, I literally remember my older sister being like, "You want to hear something heavy, Andy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, show me something heavier than the Metallica Black Album." And she was like, "Listen to this. This is this new group." And I remember hearing Blind, as we all did, and then it was I was like, holy shit, because it stripped away any sense of any remnants of that sort of 80s glam, technical. It was just what you're saying, that Max Cavalera, that raw, chuggy.
It didn't matter where it was.
Yeah,
and makes you dance. That's the thing about Korn too. It's not just heavy, it's also groove. Kind of like Dillinger, they have groovy parts. They do hit the spectrum. But you get Calculated Infinity, that album is just hit the gas to the freaking floor and just as crazy as it goes. I show people Sugar Coated Sour and they just turn it off. I can't, my brain can't work. I'm like, yeah, probably the worst song you could show someone that's not really all the way into Dillinger yet and be like, oh, listen, well. This is what the fuck was that?
I know, that's we've been getting some people, they're like, I don't know, man, it's Melted Bias is too crazy, or it's too mathcore-y. And then I'm like, number one, we're 4th grade mathcore, so we don't do anything close to true, mathcore and Odd Times Signatures. And then I was like, how is this crazy compared to, if you're putting on, for me, it was always the Mike Patton and Dillinger that introduced me that AP, but same thing of where you're putting on those pure chaos points. But for me, I'm like, I love it. I can hear all the different parts going on, and it's amazing, It
is dope. And it's also, I think with you guys, maybe it's the full package. Because I will say, your music, it's pretty crazy, but then it's also combined with the video packages and stuff. And clearly you guys have some messages and have a lot of fun doing it, that Ad People.
Oh, dude, such a great video.
Yeah, the video, I'm just I knew what you guys were going for, and I will say it aggravated the shit at me. And it just more and more ads, I'm like, oh my God. I like
one of the people that try to close it out?
Actually, at first I was like, no, this can't be an ad already, right? I was like, no, this is a part of the video. It's gotta be. I was like, you almost got me with that. I almost clicked my phone and just hit. I was like, skip.
I was blown away, because that was essentially we had finished some songs and we were gonna release that EP, and we were like, let's do a video. And then we were like, okay, well, we got to do something, because it's either that you have a decent budget and you do something that looks rad, whatever that is, or you do something and nobody watches it. So yeah, it was literally that I was just like, oh, let's add people and just do a video filled with ads. And it was sort of a shtick where I was like, I think this is going to be sort of stupid, but let's try it, you know, because we're a self-sustaining band, so we didn't have a lot of money, and we literally just like went to Ben, who does all the synths in our band. We went to his office, and there, like in the back room, they have like a green screen room, and we sort of just ad-libbed all those ads. Like I was like, everybody bring like, you know, sort of corporate outfits, and then we'll like ad-lib a bunch of ads, you know, that like we typically get.
You guys are spot on with it too. Like,
yeah,
the way
we were
talk.
trying to like get it a little bit
Not so good,
not too sticky, like just enough real.
Yeah.
And just something, I was like, I just want this to piss people off. I always like that idea. Like, you either love us for doing this or you hate us for doing this, but at least you feel something.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's important for, I think that's important in life, but I also think for Melted Bodies that's very important, because we're not for everybody, and I like that. You know, I like that it's like, dude, I want a true music video. I just want to see like 4 guys in a room, you know, like in an empty loft, like playing the riffs, which is totally fine. Yeah. But for Melted Bodies, I'm like, I don't think what we do would come across if we did that kind of video. So I'm really happy you said that. Like pretty much across the board, everybody's been like, I love that. And I'm like, fuck, how has this never been done before? It's such a simple, stupid idea. Like,
well, you guys also did it like very like, you know, gradual. Like at first you're like, oh, maybe it is an ad. And then like, it was like kind of legit. Then as it got on, it got a little more like out there and ridiculous. Like I think you were like, you make $1 million in 6 months.
Yeah. My favorite part of the whole video is really dumb, but we do like the, you know, we have like the subscribe button and like click here and all that. And like for YouTube, it always has the yellow or the red, like subscribe here.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of subscribe buttons that changed a little bit throughout the video. And there's one video where it like slides in and instead of subscribe, it just says Subway 6-inch instead. I don't know why that cracks me up when I watch it, because it's so dumb, but that's also like same thing. Like if you can go back to that, and I think, you know, if you want to and you have the patience, you could probably watch through and you know, find something new every time.
Yeah, I definitely did that because I showed a couple people. I showed like my girlfriend and stuff like that. And even if they weren't into the music per se, they were still really into the video. And then they started liking the, you know what I mean? Because like my girlfriend's not really into metal and stuff like that, but she started enjoying it later on just because of everything that was going on, and it fit really well.
Oh, yeah. The dubstep one hit me right in the heart. How many times I've seen that?
Yeah.
Honestly, you want to make pop music? Honestly, there's this one simple trick all the big producers do. I'm like, the fuck? This is
the email notification.
I know. Ben is like, you know, he was like pretty nervous. He would probably hate me for saying that, but he was nervous about, you know, we were like, dude, just roll and just say what you think, because, you know, like he does a ton of rad like electronic music and stuff on this and other projects, and yeah, we hit record, and I was like, wow, you are that guy.
Yeah.
I was like, you look the most natural out of all of us. Like, that was amazing.
Oh, dude, it killed me. I was just like, yeah, dude. Like, when I was trying to learn guitar earlier this year, I like watched a bunch of music videos, and of course, it just like all the music ads just started coming in hard on my YouTube, and then every single one was like, you want to be the best at this? Well, this one simple trick, all the pros or producers do. I was like, leave me alone. Let me watch the video.
Onslaught, man. It's an onslaught. Yeah. It's literally just interruptions. Just, oh yeah. How can we interrupt what you came here for?
It's also like, it's kind of, as someone that fails at my moment of weakness plenty of times, it's really just hitting you, looking for that one moment of weakness. It's like, yeah, maybe I could become a professional guitarist in one video. Click. You're just looking for that one moment where you're like at it. You're like, I can't learn this riff. Click that.
And it's becoming, and especially on like Instagram, I'm noticing like what they're feeding me is actually becoming so accurate, where like I'm sliding stuff and then I'm like, damn, I actually really like that. I'm like, shit, man, I don't need it. I don't need this thing, but this is actually something that I like. Like this isn't, and I'm like, it's getting good. Like I'm afraid for the next like couple of years where you're just like, spent $2,000 this month on random bullshit. Like,
Instagram is scary, without a doubt. Like, there's plenty of stuff I would buy. Like, I'm like I kind of want it. Like,
it's also weird when you look up one thing. Like, I think I looked up like a meal or something like that once, and then now I get all these ads for like pre-meal, like they pre-made meals for you or whatever for the week and stuff. like nonstop. I was like, please stop. Come on.
Yeah, just some sexy dude with a six-pack. Honestly, I work too much. Thanks for freaking eat out of a box. I don't got to worry about it. I look like this all fucking day. It's like,
you like beer? Yes.
Oh, dude, it's unreal.
So
yeah, that video crushed.
That creative with like the music video for Ad People. Do you have something else in store? You guys working on like another video, or you guys holding off for right now?
Well, let's see. We did that like 2-hour guided meditation video for Club Anxious, which is like exactly what it is. It's a way too long music video that is a guided meditation about, you know, essentially the polar opposite. Like Club Anxious is all about, you know, dealing with anxiety and depression and, you know, that kind of stuff. And so we have it started with like a serene, you know, like voiceover that sort of drags you instead of into serenity, it drags you into hell. And then we go through, like, we do the actual song, and then we do like, I think we did I forget the order. We do the actual song, then we do a version that's like slowed down by 50%, and then we do one that's like sped up by 200%, and then we do a remix that's like insane, and then we do, I can't remember, it goes, then we just have like some weird ambient like sound stuff where we just fucked with sound. So again, like sort of a test of patience of like a meditation video that does the exact opposite. And then we did, on Halloween, we just released something that you guys should check out, which is really rad. We did,
check that out. It was pretty dope.
Yeah, and that's like an acid drop Halloween, and that came about that another publication asked us for some content for Halloween. We were like, I love Halloween, so I was like, fuck yeah, like we'll just do like we'll do the Halloween 3 mass and like do it melted body style, and we filmed it, and then we turned it in. And they were like, oh, this is like way too crazy and edgy for us. So we were like, oh, well, I mean, you came to us. Like, you listened to the music. Like, you saw the other stuff we did. So we were like, shit, what are we going to do with this thing? We like, you know, Scott, who helps a ton on the visual stuff, who's our drummer. He like does all the crazy editing for those videos. And, you know, I was like, dude, Scott alone, you know, like we shot original stuff. And then luckily the contact that we had at Knotfest, we sent it to a few people that had covered us before, and they were like, dude, this is amazing. Like, yes, we'll cover it. So it ended up getting out in the world, but we just put that out. And then I think we probably won't do any other big videos anytime soon that I know of. I gotta start working on I'm already starting work on the next record, but we really got to start, you know, putting the work into the next round, wherever it goes.
Well, those videos seem like crazy work to me. Like I almost like, I know it's hard to film and like, you know, rock out, do all the different shots of people, like you said, in the warehouse, everyone's rocking out while playing the song. But when I see like, you know, the Ad People or the Halloween acid drop, I'm like you said, the drummer Scott is doing this.
Yeah,
dude, it blows my fucking mind. I could not even. Like, I'll cut this clip half a second, then have, you know, Andy over here in a mask, and then it's like. Dude, 30 minutes? Like, I can understand 2 minutes, but I was like, 30 minutes of that? Holy shit. How long did it take them to make that video?
Not too long. We did like for the album premiere, we did a really cool, like, 1.5 hour long stream called MBTV, and we created like a bunch of, you know, sort of acid dream collage stuff like that, and then like some original stuff, and then like more ads, and like just sort of like if, you know, what a lot of people are doing, but in the Melted Bodies style of like, oh, if Melted Bodies has its own, you know, cable station that would stream, what would it be like? And so we had a bunch of like sort of the bones of some of that. And then Scott, you know, is such a ace with the editing that, you know, he already had like some bones. And then we filmed the stuff in the beginning with the mass. And that was really the only new thing we filmed for the Halloween. We went to his house, and then I bought those masks on like eBay, just trying to find like the old, you know, what's his name, the 1940s and 50s guy who did like all the kids' Halloween masks, because those are creepy as hell. It's just like that single piece of plastic, you know, that you could like essentially So we filmed that, and then he took stuff, I think some of the remnants that we didn't use for that MBTV thing. And then he's just, you know, he's just an ace at layering stuff and doing it in a way that has that. And, you know, and then like throughout that are like, we have a few friends that work in visual mediums, and, you know, so they were nice enough to like give us some stuff, and, you know, we would give them a little direction. And so we're sort of building this little community at this point, of people that I think understand what we're going for, both, sonically and visually, and hope that it keeps going,
Well, that's awesome, because also I don't want you guys to stop doing what you're doing. So having a team just in home base, just crushing all these videos and music, it's like, dude.
Not an onslaught the entire time. That's where I was like, but for us that grew up on, Adult Swim and MTV Liquid Television and all that shit, I love that.
That's funny that you said Adult Swim, because that's actually what I thought about when I first watched one of your videos. I was like, I get an Adult Swim vibe for this. So it's funny. Did you have that in mind when you were making any of it?
No, I know that we're all fans of Adult Swim and of course what they have done over so many years of in my opinion, really the only cable station, which doesn't even apply nowadays, but that's sort of in my mind, and I don't know Adult Swim, I don't know the people who do it or anything, but they always seem to be we're just going to do what we fucking want. Our commercials are just going to be the word Adult Swim, on a black screen for 15, which no network would ever do, and some of their shorts and that kind of stuff. And it reminds me of being a little kid, and staying up late, to watch Liquid Television, which was a bunch of, weird animations on MTV. And I think that's in us, regardless. I think it's that fine line though with Melted Bodies of we never want to lean too far into, the sort of way over the top Tim and Eric, which I love. I love those guys. I love that style. But for us too, there is there is a lot of serious messaging, believe it or not, behind the songs, and we do put a lot of time into it. And I never grew up on bands where I was it's silly, and so for us, it's really trying to showcase the chaos and the art school side, but while at the same time enjoying yourself without being cliche. But it is important to we still, for me, I was if every song I had to play it back and have one part that I smiled at, and that's not because I was it has to make me feel great, more so that I was just fuck yeah, I want to listen to that again. I want that feeling when you hear a good riff or that part, that either gets you angry or gets you excited or something, where you just smile and you're fuck, that's groovy, or
Dude, absolutely. I'm someone that listens to the same thing over and over again. If I like it, I'll put it on one song 100 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And I look for those moments in any genre of music. It's just whether it's pop, it's just I love that chorus, or just Knock Loose, Forget Your Name. There's an end sequence of that song. I almost attacked the bus on the way. I was at work. I had to walk somewhere, and I was I just want to start punching things. I was holy shit, this part is so good.
That's exactly Knocked Loose. It took me a bit because I, we're older, and I was okay, if I was in high school, I would be this is the jam. But then I was taking myself way too seriously, I think, when somebody showed up to me, and I had the same thing. Then I listened in my car, and I had that where I just smiled, and I was
damn, yeah.
It's just
oh, dude,
when he
awesome.
Barks. Yeah, when he barks, I was that's fucking rad.
It's whoa. Speaking of ads, that's an ad for Crowd Killing, bro. That song, that Counting Worms, Billy No Made's music video, it's just dudes getting rocked in the face for 4 minutes straight. I was holy shit, dude. It's just constant, just dude overhand, just chopping. I was dude, there's so many people getting fucked up at this music video, man. I was holy crap.
That was vulgar display of power when you're little.
Yeah.
And you're dude, what? And then they're they just paid some guy to get punched in the face. And I think I read later on that I was oh, it was a post photo. So I don't know.
Man, I wish that was true. Imagine them just dude, I could just see one of those drunk dudes just in the freaking Pantera, dude, just get punched in the face. Let's take a picture of it just real quick. It's
exactly. It's
for you guys, sure. For you guys.
Epitome of that, for sure.
Wasn't it? I don't know if that was I heard something about they had to take several takes or something, and that guy actually did get punched in the face.
Yeah, so that's what I always thought it was. I hope that's what it was. I mean, that's what you want it to be,
Yeah, authentic.
Imagine the photographer. Yeah, just keep trying.
Yeah, exactly.
That moment,
You didn't get it.
Just keep trying.
You guys booked me for a full hour, so let's use it.
Oh, I got punched. Oh, I think we're done, dude. We don't win it. We think we got like 2 back. Dude, we got it. We got the one.
Somebody sent me on like Instagram or something videos of like the slapping contest. Have you guys seen that shit?
Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh my god. Like still that seems brutal. I'm like, that would knock me out. Easily.
Dude.
Yeah.
There's like a famous one. It's like the classic like little dude versus like the gigantic like dude, and like yeah, he all the way slaps the big guy. The guy just looks at him and just and it just, like just turned off his butt. And he just fell into the ground. Like
shut down.
Holy crap!
I think slaps are nothing. Like you can't have a neck. I noticed that the guys that win, like either they have giant whatever muscles these are called, I forget, or they just were born with a body where it's like,
it's like
here, like I have like a long, dangly old neck. My head would just snap. My head would just snap.
Well, there's like there is actually something fun. Like a big fan of like MMA and stuff, and like people say like they work out their necks because there's something when your neck is like not as strong because what knocks you out is the whiplash. It's like the brain kind of rocking. So that's why they say to like punch the chin because like the chin kind of rocks your head. So like when dudes just have a fucking tank neck, it's like. Well, naturally, it's like it lets like a lot of like the vibration not like go through your body. Apparently, I don't know. I just get serious about neck, anatomy and knockouts. But
I can't even see your neck right now with your beard right there.
Oh yeah, dude, that's my trick. It's just like just go into turtle formation, just avoid hits.
Exactly.
Well, speaking a little bit about it, Enjoy Yourself. It came out, I think, back in September, right?
Yep.
Yeah, a long time now. So when you were writing this record, did you expect to like have all this like Knotfest is hitting you up, like Metal Injection wrote like a great interview, album review with you guys? Did you expect all this like really positive reviews and all this stuff?
That's a tough question because there's the one level where you want to be confident in behind what you've created, and you want to tell yourself like, people better fucking check this out. They better like it. And then there's the other side where you don't want to expect any of that, and with this from the beginning, I genuinely was like, I just want to do something that feels very me and feels very Melted Bodies. And then the feedback has been way more than I thought for a self-released, essentially self-released in doing what we're doing. I think in this genre, I've been over the top, and especially it seems like what I had hinting at before, where I was like, I really hope people hear it for the heaviness and the creativeness and the songwriting and get the messaging and don't just throw it away, as, oh, this is just a silly System of a Down, and luckily it's for the most part, it's been amazing. Like I've been pretty humbled, with that, these big publications have been hearing it how I've wanted people to hear it. And if you hear it in the other way, I'm good with that too. That was the thing, is that I was like, oh, I want to be a band that, especially in heavy metal, where it's like, I want to be a band that people are either like, I'm into it or I'm not, because I think I didn't want anything to be too down the middle where you're like, oh, I like them. Like it's cool. I either wanted to be like, fuck yeah, or, like, this is not for me, man. Like this is getting under my skin immediately.
Have you guys been reached out? Like, has labels and records and all that reach out to you?
No, not a lot of, nothing like cooking on the label side. I think we knew that though,
Is that something you want though, or you rather be like independent?
I think it all depends. It would really depend on, if the right label approached us and what the deal would be. Like record deals are sort of a shit show, and, you're in the best position, I would think, from a point to actually sign with the label of if you have, a bunch of labels coming to you. I think if it was us, reaching out and begging labels, there's no incentive, they're like, cool, like, yeah, we'll give you this deal because we're not really going to lose, where there's no risk for us involved in this. And then we're like, yeah, we're on here with other bands. And then, it ends up not doing anything because it's just hard. It's hard for bands. We're doing whatever it is you want to call us doing, which is not meant for everybody. And, so we're going to be doing our own path, I think, for a while. And then if we find people along the way that get it and want to support it, and then great. So I'm definitely not against it. I'm also very realistic on, I don't have dreams, that Epic Records is going to call us tomorrow and be like, we've got a 2-record deal.
You guys are definitely doing really well just independently right now, just with the release, with the videos and everything like that. You guys are definitely on the right path.
Yeah, I hope so.
Metal Teddy Bear Experience. We're here to tell you you're on the wrong path. You got to change it, bro. We're here to change it. Guy with a chimney in his background with a beanie on. You got to change this shit up, Andy. Let's talk.
Let's get to the part of the interview we really wanted to get to. You better change the shit up. Okay? All the stuff Metal Teddy Bear is here to tell you.
I'm kidding. Yeah, no, that's like always the horror show, right? It's like, especially like when people are like 18 or 20 and they come into they're just like first records are smash and they get all the deals. It's like, oh, here's a shitty deal, but I'm on a fucking label finally. And then they just 5 years down the road, they're even bigger and they're like, oh my God, we barely got any money because we signed that stupid deal when we first showed up onto the scene. It's like, dude, they always crushed me. Then you see bands like go back to Dillinger. They created their own label. They were on a bunch of labels, and at the last thing, they just like, fuck it, let's just create our own label, and they just kind of went into it. And like bands like you, I feel like if you do get a deal, you're gonna have just so much leverage because you guys have been doing it yourself for so long. And it's like, maybe get that magical deal of like owning the masters and they just distribute, like, you do the dirty work, we get the money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Greg was just talking about that.
It's a 1-record deal, so we'll see. I don't know. And I totally agree with you. Like it's, I feel like there's obviously a tons of ways into the, whatever you want to call the industry, but there's, writing stuff that's the most appealing to the most people and hoping to catch that, or there's doing stuff that, appeals to a very small amount of people, but those small amounts of people are people that are going to be with you, from when they're teenagers, well into adulthood, and collecting that over time are always, probably for all of us, the bands that we ended up loving, that are bands that labels weren't immediately like, oh my God, we got to get this. We got to get it. This sounds exactly like, whoever. And yeah, I'm hoping, because we are truly doing what the fuck we want to do, for better or for worse. And my hope is exactly that through this record and the next and that, we'll build up something where we're not in a position where we're like, oh, we need to get on a label, or we need to get that, more so like, yeah, if we find somebody amazing, if not, we have the confidence that we just got to keep moving forward and it'll be fine. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of weird that like that cult following kind of idea, like when you're a band or a movie, like that might not be like big, but then a couple years later you get huge, or you have that following. Like, kind of like Every Time I Die, like they're a big band in their area, but it's because their group, like I'm a diehard Every Time I Die fan, but like, I buy all the shit they put out. It's like it seems like they're very popular, but it's like I can't go outside, talk to, like, I have a landscaping company across the street. I can't go out there and be like, yo, you listen to that new Every Time I Die, and they're like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, I like it. Like, I know, it's just like, but weirdly, those niche audience almost pay the most money. And it's like, and you always get that audience without trying to get money from just people. Like, those big bands, like, just buy everything, give us all the money. It's like, you get like a few people, but it's like those cold audiences you almost get by accident. You just kind of, like you said, you do your own thing. And then just some dude like passes by a shop, like, Melted Bodies. That could be kind of cool. And they just now they just buy all your shirts and like, oh,
yeah. Yeah, but like, you're totally right on Every Time I Die, because I got into them too. Yeah, when what was the big record for like a Hot Damn, right? Yeah, Hot Damn for me was like when everybody was like, you got to check this out, and I feel like they were getting lumped in with that sort of screamo and like emo, like when that was popping off, at least in like Orange County and LA, where there was like, every once in a while there would be a band that would come in. I'm like, that's fucking, like the Locusts would come in and you'd be like, fuck, they're doing whatever the fuck they want, and I liked the Blood Brothers a lot. And there was bands in that world that I was like, they're doing something rad. And Every Time I Die, I was like, oh, this reminds me so much of that Southern, they would incorporate that Southern metal. And then I forget the singer's name, but like his sort of twinge of sarcasm, but done intelligently with anger, like I was hooked on that. I was like, dude, And they weren't. I was like, oh, they're not just, you know, singing with the fake, whatever you want to call that, the emo accent, you know, whoa, you know, and you're right. And they just kept going because I was like, oh, they're just a true, like, the guitar player who does a lot of those riffs writings. I was like, oh, he's just a true metalhead. Like, it's just a true, like, the riffs and stuff and their attitude. So yeah, and I saw them. Long story short, didn't forget about them, but I wasn't listening to that kind of music. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, I'm going to the Echoplex to see Every Time I Die. And I went, dude, and I was like, dude, this is fucking brutal still. And everybody was super fans. And it was just like, and those guys were having a blast, man. Like, they were having a blast on stage. So yeah, they're awesome. Yeah. And that singer is so smart. I feel like he comes off like the lyrics. I'm like, oh, that's so witty. Like, not in an annoying way. Like,
oh, dude,
great writer. He wrote his own book, right?
Yeah, he's got 2 or 3.
Yeah, he's a really good writer.
Yeah, he's nuts. Well, he also except for the last album, like, he still has like fun with it. But that last album they just released is very emotional because he was going through like a moment in his life. Yeah. But like every other one, he calls it like the Keith line. You know, like it's just like you look through like all these different songs. There's these moments where he's just playing with words. You're just like, the fuck, and it's just like, you just get addicted to it. And like, as a fan, thank God they have that bass, because I'm just like, well, I hate when bands like, you know, I understand music doesn't always make the most money, but it's like, dude, if I was a billionaire, just like, here, get all the money, just like, bands keep going. That's why I'm happy they got it, and I'm happy you got, like, you know, a band like yours is like getting all this like kind of like, you know, oh my God, speak fans without a label. I had a cool word in my head, and I was like, I'm gonna hit them with this. I'm gonna hit all of you with this line, and I couldn't remember it. I was like, yeah. But yeah, no, it's always cool to see bands, you know, get like these big audiences without, or, you know, their own audience without like record labels kind of stealing, or like, you know, they all don't steal, but like, you know, fucking with your own shit.
Right from you.
Yeah, I know. Just like me, it was like, Jesse just said we steal. Fuck that guy. It's like,
well, and it's so like, I'm just thinking right now of how rad it is that I'm talking to you guys on the East Coast, and like we've never played outside Los Angeles, and I'm like, it's fucking amazing that I'm like getting to do this and like talk to people, because we you know, God willing or whatever, is that we can get out there and start playing shows again, and it, you know, start touring and doing what we do for our live show for people. And but at the same time, it might have been great for us because the songs take a few to digest, that it's like, oh, like just listen to the records. So then when you see us, it makes sense, you know, because I think for us playing live, we definitely have gotten that a lot, where number one, people are like, we don't know who to book you with. And then when we do get put on a show that, you know, ends up being good and a big turnout, a lot of new fans are like, I didn't really know what was going on. It's just it's like watching the music video where you're like, I want to keep watching, but it was like, but then you go back and you listen, you know, and so that's finally having a record out, and then people are like, oh, like, oh, okay, that's actually not that complicated at all, or like, oh, now I get it. Like,
actually, that was the thing I thought about the first track of, you know, Enjoy Yourself, was literally like, one, how would the live show be? I was like, because it's like it's heavy parts, but then it switches, and it's like, would it just be like a ruckus the whole time? And then who would you guys play with? Because it would be interesting, because I feel like you guys would be the sleeper band. You'd like fuck up a headliner by accident. Like, you know, if you, like, you get like, he's like, oh, they got some poppy or punky kind of parts. It's like, maybe we could put them on like not such a heavy show. And then you just like, I forgot what song it was. It has like basically a beat down in it. And I was like, the fuck, you just sleep them. Like, the audience will be like,
is that 99 cents?
99 cents, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I
think that's like I don't know how to describe it. I feel like you have so much going on in that track, like the most interesting track to listen. I feel like that's the one I usually go back to the most. So I feel like you have so much going on in so many sections.
That track has so much shit going on. I mean, when as a band we just do that, you know, we naturally are going to be molding and doing a lot of stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to think of that middle part where I was at. I think it was listening to like the resurgence of this, whatever you want to call it, like the metalcore, you know, hardcore of like, you know, Nails and you know, Gatekeeper and that, you know, that Kurt Ballou, you know, production style and that, and and I was like, oh, I I don't know. I was just listening to that where it's just raw, you know, like you know, like
Yeah.
reminded me of like Pierced Within, Suffocation at parts.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, where it's just that super muted, you know, fifth, you know, root fifth, like just get it like in there and yeah, and so for 99 cents is the jing.
Do you call that
where
like
like
your
when you
favorite?
learn it, you're like, oh, it's more complicated than I thought, but when you listen to it, you're like, oh yes, like
Yeah.
Would you call
that
that
song
like your favorite track or anything like that, or would you pick another track on there?
shit. I don't know. I go back and forth. I think well, now I'm trying to think of all the songs. I do really like Add People because that like has a thing for me. Like it's like thrashy and it's really heavy, but then it has that layer of sort of, you know, a David Byrne and Mark Mothersbaugh sort of infused into it. And I don't know. I guess I have to like them all. Like to be honest, there's times where I've been like 99 Cents is a shit show, where I'm like, that song goes all over the fucking place and it like stops goes, but then I'll listen to it another time and I'll be like, yeah, like
It's time.
yeah, maybe it's cool. So I don't know what my favorite is right now. I guess I need to listen to the record again today and be like, yeah, because even like Eat Pops, which is like a simple, for me, our simplest song, I also just really like that fact, you know, that it's like, oh, it's just sort of like once you get past that intro, it's just like we're just going. You can catch on to every part and it's over, you know. And
you
sometimes
just lock into it. You can groove easier to it. You just get into it. You're like, yeah, there we go, we're in. Which that's what sucks about the metal community. I will say, as a metalhead, it's like, dude, fuck yeah, like I said before, the simple shit. When people like that's their one critique of something, or just like, oh, I don't have to think, you know, like every metalhead's a fucking thinker or a philosopher apparently of music. It's like, no, it's good. It's like, what the hell? It's like the best parts, like breakdowns. Best breakdown is a simple breakdown. Like it's just like, dude, it's just what it is. It's something about just a chug. You're like, yeah, I must throw chair across room. I must circle pit. Like it's just like, let's go.
Well, and that's exactly. You can be a virtuoso at, you know, guitar or drums or vocals, you know, but if you don't have a thing or if you don't have an honesty behind it, you know, like that's the reason, you know, that I think a lot of, to be honest, metalheads get frustrated when they listen, you know, to bands and they're like, it's so simple, or like that Knocked Loose breakdown is so simple. It's been done so many times. And then I'm like, yeah, but they did it their way, you know, and they have a thing that they built up. And that's the point, is that like when you listen to it, you're just like, fuck, dude, like, yes, if I wrote this down on a piece of paper, you'd be like, oh, so many bands have done that. But then you're like, but listen to it, like feel it. And then you're like, okay, I like it. This is brutal. So
going back, trying to like get another failed attempt trying to learn guitar. My friend who's like, you know, a decent guitarist, he was like, dude, why don't you just play System of a Down songs? I kind of looked at a lot of their tabs. I'm like, yeah, pretty simple songs. But so name me a bad System of a Down song. Like, just like, yeah, maybe.
And they're a perfect example of good songwriting. Yeah, like exactly. That's what's their songwriting. Same thing. If you break each, you know, riff out or do the metalhead, you know, overanalyze thing, they'd be like, oh, this is too simple and it's drop tuning and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, yeah, but listen to it. And then you're like, oh, I can't get it out of my fucking head.
Exactly.
It pissed me off. I also cracked up at a part, you know, like that's, yeah, good songwriting. And the melodies, you know, they always have a melody or two in there that's like, fuck, dude, that's catchy. That's a very, very, that just gets stuck in my head.
Do I live for that shit? I live for I'd step away from the song and then I just can't stop thinking about it. Because as my obsessive, like, about music or like movies and stuff, I'm just like, I gotta listen to it now. I just like playlist one song.
Didn't they just release 2 new songs? I checked them out real quick.
Yes, they did.
They didn't hit me yet, so I need to listen again.
Well, I heard people saying like, oh, they're like good. And I was like, honestly, good is pretty good for not writing music together for 15 years. He's like, you know, I can't exactly, especially because they've been arguing for about 14 of them.
I think it kind of left off like where Mesmerized and Hypnotized were. It kind of still has that sound. Like you could definitely tell it's not the same, but it definitely has that sound. Like the guitar tone is the same. Like they still didn't go back to that like Toxicity Steal This Album tone, you know, which is like my favorite. I love that so much.
Oh, that was the album, yeah.
Chris, you almost bit your bottom lip right there. I fucking I
fucking love that. Cream to it all the time.
Yeah, that was I jumped onto the first album, and it was, what song was it? It was like War war, we don't speak anymore of war.
Yeah.
Isn't that what those, I'm trying to remember. I hope those are the lyrics. We don't speak anymore of war. We don't speak anymore. It does the growl. And I was like, what? You can do the growl and you can stick. At that point, it was like, you choose one or the other. You're either only doing gutturals or only, you know, but I think, I don't know if I'm right, but I feel like on that first record, Serge was doing like the inhale growl. I don't think it was ever, you know, where you can like, it wasn't.
Yeah, he also puts the mic like in his mouth every time. Like every live video I've ever seen, every time he ever does that, he just literally has like in his mouth, just like, whoa, just like.
Which is probably the way to save your vocals.
Oh yeah.
I do the gutturals and I do a total Chris Barnes style because it's like I probably won't be able to sing in 2 years.
Dude, fucking metal.
Well, I think this is a good time to go to our segment we like to call the 3 Random Silly Questions segment. You ready for this? We ask you 3 random questions.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. What's a trend you followed as a kid or a teenager that makes you cringe now?
Ooh,
there you go.
There's probably a shit ton of those. Well, it depends on when you're asking me. I guess it would be that makes me cringe. Maybe when I was really little, I got into Pogs, and then I like looked back the other day, and I was like, "That's the dumbest game in the world." And I was like, "What?" But that's not cringeworthy because it was like, you know, I was so young that it was like, oh, it's like a cobra with like holding an 8-ball in its mouth, which like even to me this day, I'm like, I sort of like that stuff. Like, who am I kidding? It's sort of cheesy. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that would be like cringeworthy growing up. Oh, I know. When I was like in grade school, I saved up and like bought like some No Fear t-shirts. And that shit is so cheesy thinking back, where it's just like hyper masculinity. Do you guys remember this? Like, do you guys remember No Fear? This was like, I was in grade school and it was like shirts that were like, bases are loaded, scores tied up, you're up to bat. It's a full count. What do you do? No fear. It's like every cheesy like monster chugging, you know, BMX riding, lifted truck bro, like all the bad sides of masculinity. So I think I would put that one.
You see glasses, knock them off. No fear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think one of the shirts was like a cat and a chicken staring at each other, and it was like, what was it? It was like, are you a cock or a pussy? And it was just like, what? That's just the dumbest, like, you know, but when I was like, you know, and I don't remember, it must have been like 4th grade or something. I was like, you can put that on a shirt? Like, yeah.
What the hell, dude? That's a fucking unreal shirt. That's like, I identify with this.
What do you got, Jesse?
Me? There's a few. Honestly, because I used to have really long hair. I look back at the pictures of me, like in like 4th grade or like something, and just that phase, because I have curly hair where it would just all curl up. I'm just like, yeah, fuck, man, I should just never have done it. It's like, what have I done? I was like, just such a dick. There's a few, honestly.
Every time I think of you as a kid, I just think of you with your long hair and your John Deere t-shirt, yellow John Deere t-shirt.
Yeah, I used to just wear t-shirts. You know, I didn't like care what unless they said something crazy, but like my dad works, like he's a mechanic and stuff. So he works on, you know, there's landscapers all around. So clearly, you know, he works on John Deere's and stuff. So I just had a John Deere shirt for some reason. And people were like, oh, you like to fucking mow or something? It's like, no, I never mowed before ever. It's just a comfy shirt. Like literally just got, I'm just like,
feel this cotton. Feel this cotton blend.
Amazing. I wore that whole
50 blend.
Dude. What was the other one? The other shirt that was like, oh fuck, there was a few, but like I never had too many cringy moments. More like moments of reacting. Like, you know, it wasn't moments of like how fat I was in. It was more like the first time I asked out a girl and she said no, and then like me listening to "Broken" by Seether like 72 times, and I was just like, what was I thinking? It wasn't that big of a deal. Like,
I think the funniest is like, because I saw it, like, I don't know if you remember Last FM.
Oh yeah.
Where they show what you listen to. So I looked on his thing. It was like broken. I'm like, dude, why do you keep listening to Broken?
Yeah, exactly. Easy.
I remember that like 6 or 7 years later. I was like, bro, I did that? Fuck. I was like, what a goofball. I was like, oh no.
Hey man, we all been there.
Oh, dude. It was a great moment though. I was sitting at work and I just remember that. I was like, dude, that's hilarious. What was wrong with me? Why did I react so poorly to that? Also, great song with Amy Lee, of course. Great
There
song.
you go.
I
Of
like
course, yeah.
Question number 2. What non-metal song needs a death metal cover?
What non-metal song needs a death metal cover? I love covers. I mean, we sort of did that. It's not really death metal, but the song "The Rat" on our album is a cover of a band called the Walkmen, which is like a great band, and I feel like we turned it more into like a thrash with some death metal in there, and then more of like a Carpenter bridge. So I guess that would be my answer, because I wanted to do that. I was like, I love this song. I love this song, and then I was like, but what if like we took that, the chord progression at this parts and just put double bass behind it, and then I, switched the guitar part up to have, chugs in between it, and yeah, it turned out great. And most people don't know that that's a cover of like a popular. I think when did that album come out? In like 2008, I'm guessing. I can't remember. It's a good indie rock band though.
Gotta check it out. Well, that the original song. Also, it's kind of weird. I have a friend who likes playing with music like that. He just likes goofing off and doing that stuff. But it's kind of weird
He's
how
behind you right now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's here. Check it out. It's just like, here's my friend that likes to goof. You call my music goofy? No. But like he always does this. Like, dude, if you put, like you said, you just put double bass behind this simple like pop riff or just down tune, it's like, dude, you're gonna create violence in the streets. Like literally, just like you just pass that.
Don't put that double bass in there. We're gonna have riots.
No, you're literally gonna flip cars. Do you want your car to be flipped? Keep it major. Keep it standard tuning. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude, it's goofy.
Now.
Or just like the classic, like Slayer songs in major key. Just how hilarious.
Yeah,
that's like funny as hell.
It's like, yeah, I was like in like music theory class, and like I just had the one whiz in class that already kind of knew about music theory. He was just kind of taking it for fun, and it was like, yeah, he just turned them on. I was like, that was the first time I ever heard something like that. I was like, what did you do? What did you do to Angel of Death?
What have you done?
This is like, you just sit there and you see clapping. Like that's all you can do.
Angel of Life.
Oh, dude, crushes me.
Yeah, the one I always think of, it's like, I mean, A Whole New World in Aladdin or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if that went death metal, or even if Howard Jones from like the Torture, Kill Switch, if he sang on it, that'd be so fucking epic.
Dude, you need to write that out, man.
To get it.
Sounded like you play guitar, like map it out, and then when you guys have an interview, with whoever, with Kill Switch, then you can be like, hey, I'm gonna play you a demo that I did. Like, I just want to get a gut reaction. You tell me first thing you feel. Can we make it happen?
Can I get in the band? Actually, I want to leave this podcast. I want to be in.
Yeah, and
what?
I just like because they did a cover of A Whole New World, but in metal.
Oh,
in the key of Howard. Okay, question number 3. Do you button your shirt top down or button up?
Holy
This is
shit,
serious stuff.
Serious questions.
I do bottom up.
That's actually the smart way to do it.
I don't remember, man. I'm like literally.
I'm actually thinking about how I think I go top down.
I can't remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
What does this mean? What is the significance?
I must.
Just
like
wear button shirts.
When you shit, do you wipe front to back or back?
Well, speaking of that, what do you do? No.
I think anybody who goes from the back towards yourself is fucking weird, right? Is that,
I can't even fathom
anybody
that.
Do that?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I can't. I heard that once, and I was just like, I don't know, maybe I'm just not flexible shoulders, but like literally just reaching behind. I'm like, this sucks. Like this is so much harder than doing it from front to back. What the fuck?
This is too much information. But that's what we do.
All the information.
We bought one of those bidets.
Nice.
Where you attach it to your toilet. It was pretty cheap. It's a whole new fucking world. Like it's a whole new world.
It's a whole new.
Yeah, exactly. I did a whole new world in the genre of metal, but it's actually about wiping your ass with a bidet, with a waterfall spraying at your asshole. That's what I changed the lyrics to.
Dude, it's legend. My brother at his house, he got a bidet, and it literally, I used it. I was like, this is bullshit, dude. Why do we not have this everywhere? I bought one, but my toilet seat isn't compatible. I still gotta go buy a new toilet seat. It like pushes it down. I'm like, I gotta go buy another thing. Fuck, I can't have it. Because, dude, I can try to explain to people, like, you want a water to spray your asshole at home? It's like, yes. You wipe it? Yes. Like
my asshole takes a warm shower every time I shit. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. It's like, it's not the classic thing, but you ever just put, like, peanut butter in your hair and then try to wipe it with a paper towel? It doesn't just go away. That's what you're doing to your asshole every time you're wiping. It's
oh,
like,
my God. I love
it with a hose.
You're like an ad for bidets or dude wipes.
Well, speaking of that, tushy.com/TM.
Dude, well done. That was
there
like
we go.
real well
There
done.
you go. There you go. It's not even in the YouTube. You can't skip it. You gotta listen to us.
That's like last podcast on the left type shit right there. Where you're like, wait, are they still going? Is Henry? Oh, he's joking. Oh no, that's a real ad.
It's real. It works. Yes. Well, actually, because I listen to a few podcasts, whenever I go buy something, I do just type in random like initials of like this like a bunch of podcasts. I'm like, I've actually saved like $10. I'm like, oh, they do have a code. Thank God. It's just like I couldn't remember. It's like, did they talk about this? Just this, blah blah blah. It's like, oh, I saved money.
Just
Thank you.
15.
Yeah, you're like, I just saved 20%.
Dude, oh, it's a legend, bro. People don't even understand. Like MeUndies, bro. I will say that speaking of ads, MeUndies, I bought. That was the one ad. I was like, I fell for it. I'm proud because my.
And it's good. It's good.
Oh,
product.
it's fantastic. I've only ever had bag underwear, and I didn't know how much of like in the trenches I was until like I brought my balls and my ass to like the palace with MeUndies. I was like, dude, this is it. I'm living it.
I love how the conversation has just evolved to like how to take care of your butthole and
Yes.
We asked the real questions here.
Honestly, music is fun and movies and, you know, serious topics are fun. But honestly, it's about your butthole at the end of the day. Everything, if you don't take care of your butthole, shit's going to hit the fan. Pun intended.
Yes, figuratively and literally.
It's unbelievable.
So that concludes the random silly questions segment. Hope you enjoyed that. And so do you guys have any live stream or any sort of like, you know, performances like planned?
No.
Short answer.
What do we have coming up? We're doing we're gonna release like these little creatures called Melted Buddies, and it's like a creature that I like designed and then like had somebody do a mold, and we like turned them into candles and like little figures that you squeeze and they like throw up slime and shit. So we're gonna do like physical copies of the album with that. We have the vinyl finally shipping. So I think we only have a handful of those, so definitely snatch one of those up. What else do we have coming up? We're working on the new record, and then yeah, hopefully if you know this pandemic calms down any time that we get out there and start playing shows again, and now that we're getting, thank God, some exposure outside of LA, would love to like get out to the East Coast or you know do something.
Oh, absolutely. I'm honestly, when you guys stop by, not just pandering to you, I'm definitely going. I'm definitely circle pitting, whatever, dropping acid. I'm fucking singing along. I'm like, it's going hard. Honestly, how much have you missed shows with artists just playing? But like, do you hear a song once in a while where you're like, fuck, I just forgot I can't go to shows. Like
all the time. And that was like the one thing that I took for granted because I was like, like at least with all the, you know, with how we're digesting music and streaming and you know with all these you know everybody's struggling more than ever to like be an artist, that I was like, at least you have live shows. Like you can't take that away from musicians. Like,
and they did.
You can't take that away. They still, you know, you could still make money touring, you know, you could still make money off of, you know, your merch for the shows and albums, and you could still get that feeling where you go, even if you're like, dude, I'm sick, you know, for you guys where you're like, dude, I'm sick of fucking heavy metal today. Like I listen to it for a living, like, and then you go to a show and then you're like, oh yeah, I love it. Like you can't find that anywhere else, but and then I was like, nobody will take that away. And then this shit hit.
And come the droplets. All of a sudden droplets came to America. Never heard of droplets before until COVID. It's like, oh no, these fucking droplets. Go away. Yeah, no, I always, it crushes me because about that. Cause like I said, like, yeah, I love music and I respect everything that, you know, you guys do and just all the bands out there, even music I don't like. I'm just like, yo, you guys crush it. You guys do your own thing. And it's just like, I don't know. Just like more money. Just keep these bands going. That's all I care about, honestly. And that's why I'm probably gonna pick up definitely some vinyl because I'm a bitch for vinyl. I don't know why. I just love it.
What's the best way to support Melted Bodies? Is it through Bandcamp or your website or?
Either Sweatband Records is the one that put out our vinyl. So go to sweatbandrecords.com. You can get it on Bandcamp. We do have merchandise on the Hive. If you go to thehive.net, it's like they house a lot of rad bands and artists.
Oh, nice.
Their merch. So they help with like distribution. But we signed up with them, and so when like I'll design merch and I'll make it with my screen printer, and then I'll take it to them, and they handle like the shipping. But those are really the areas because that's stuff that is directly, it gets bought and the money comes directly to us. So yeah, and then the streaming, obviously nobody makes money off of streaming, but that's, I'm a Spotify listener, so I'm not talking shit on streaming services. But if you want to support, artists directly, for us, it's buying the physical stuff right now. That's where we actually make some money.
Awesome.
Well, guys, you heard him. Check out Enjoy Yourself. Check it out anywhere you can get it.
Awesome. Yeah. And dude, listen to it multiple times because it's fucking dope. Yeah. And mosh at home, dude.
Mosh
in your living room.
You just crush it. I did once and I was like, my house is just, the foundation's not good. I was like, I saw my floor shaking. I was like, yeah, and I'm just going to wait till a live show.
Chimney behind you is going to fall down.
It's already, it's slanted. It was straight. It was straight before the Lamb of God live show, and then it slanted. My dumb ass.
Slowly.
Well, dude, this was a lot of fun. Thank you, Andy, for joining the show, and you're always welcome back. Anything you guys do, you want to come back on, more than welcome to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this woke me up immediately. That was fun.
There we go.
I had a blast. So thank you guys, and thank you for the kind words. It means a lot.
Oh, it was an honor, man. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. See you guys.
And welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast right now. This is your host, Chris. With me, we got Jesse. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
On this outro, he is not telling you to get ATM.
ATM? What the fuck is ATM?
Get at me.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like a light or a distant mirror.
Nice.
References.
Actually, fun fact about that, because I was busy that day and that week, I just never watched it. I just have the T-shirt. I bought the ticket. And then I don't know why. I was just busy that day, and I just ended up not missing it. I was so mad.
Then, at least you supported the band.
I did. I even got I even used their wrapping paper for my brother's gift for his birthday.
They had wrapping paper?
Yeah, right here. I have a piece of it still.
Wow, you went all out. Kind of looks like a poster, but that's cool.
Oh, yeah, it's actually really, like, honestly, if they actually just sold this wrapping paper, now I can't fold it up again. It's actually the best wrapping paper I've ever used. I think it's crazy thick. Like,
usually you're just throwing it away. Why do you need it to be that thick?
Oh, because it's the shit when you fucking.
I just use newspaper or actually not newspaper. I use flyers from grocery stores.
Oh, you just take a stack. Wink, wink.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the worst part is like when you do wrapping paper and it's the thing about it having to be thick or just good wrapping paper is like when you rip it, just fucking contorting it, trying to get around the stupid. Especially when you do gifts. Like I bought my dad a welding helmet and it's not a block. It's not a square or rectangle. It's just like a weird helmet. Yeah, the second I tried to wrap it around, the plastic like tore through it, and just like you're like, damn it! Like you're just wasting it as you're trying to figure out. Then I just duct tape it, like just circle her. It's like
when I duct tape Tommy's gift.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Shout out to Tommy.
Pretty. But now we're getting meta into the friend group of people. You guys, let's go back to the podcast.
Hope you enjoyed Andy from Melted Bodies. It was fun talking to him. Enjoy yourself. Their brand new album, their debut record, came out back in September. Mixed and mastered by John Spiker. So a lot of fun stuff there. Guys, check it out on Bandcamp, The Hive. There's a bunch of other stuff he said as well, which will be in the description below.
Honestly, yeah, it was pretty dope. He was a great guy. The music is great. The music videos are great. Like,
Perfect.
honestly, like, you know, I'm not the most professional. I listen, you know, some of these bands that we've interviewed, I've like not always heard of, right? So before the interview, I listen to the music. I check out the band. I learn about them, you know, for obviously pre-prep for like the podcast. Honestly, one of the top, like not knowing and going into them, like just blind and never heard. Dope. Like very surprised, you know, especially with like this electronic music and it just being like not just electronic, but it's punk, but it's thrash, but it's like fucking, they got a, like I said in the interview, they got like a beat down, you know, it's just like they go all over the place and it's really cool. And then also it's always cool to hear good music and then interview the person or the band and find out they're good people. And Andy is one of those guys, very good person, very interesting, very fun. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. Nice surprise for me. Always nice.
It's always being, you know, when you check out a band, you're always a little like this. But when you check out a band and you're like, wow, this blew away expectations. You're like, holy crap. And this is what this album did. And like Jesse said, there's so many different types of genres put into this. There's so much going on. And yeah, it's just it's fresh air. It's a fresh band.
Yeah, it's nice. And it's, yeah. And
check it out if you guys haven't already. Like he said, Spotify, he listens to that a lot, you know, but they really don't get that much money. So if you actually want to support the band, the best ways to probably do that is Bandcamp or buying the vinyl and doing stuff like that, or buying merch too.
Yeah, dude, buy up. It's even if you just buy like the CD, you don't have to always do what I do, which is like I have no money right now, and I kind of, you know, I randomly just buy stuff and it screws me over. You can just buy a CD or download it. Well, I don't know if they have download versions, but just a CD will be fine too. Just help out the bands.
Just keep opening
merch.
Credit cards.
Open credit cards. Max them out.
Yep. If you don't have at least 4 maxed out right now, you're not doing your social justice.
And also, if you're not like doing, if you look at Credit Karma, opening lines of credit is a thing that affects your credit. So max those out. Let's get to 15 lines of credit. Sure, if you max them out, maybe the credit utilization is a little too high. That puts your grade down. We'll figure it out. This is a credit check with Jesse Tejan on the Metal Teddy Bear Experience. Back to you, Chris.
Credit into journey.
Credit. Okay, back to you, Chris. It's just like
good guy, Jesse.
We're back with the credit utilization.
Dude, it's like you grew another chin.
Oh, why?
Because you have like that, and then you turn into yourself now. It's like holy.
So it's not fair. Also, I hate when I look at my bathroom mirror and like how good my beard looks, but on this camera you just see right through to my neck, and it makes me feel.
If it helps you when you hunch over, you can just see the black shirt, so it looks like much.
I know
bigger.
It's annoying. Can I just get it? I'm thinking about just cutting it and just having the fucking chin.
Cool. Give up. Left. Just like your hopes and dreams.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
All right. That was a good podcast. Where can we find?
Just playing, guys. Just playing.
Fuck my life into pieces.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Hope it wasn't too long for you. If you guys want to check out my radio show, 90.3 WMSC, you guys can do that with iHeartRadio or 7 to 10 on Tuesday Eastern time because we're from Jersey. What's up? Yeah, 7 to 10. That features my boy Aram. So get ready for that. Again, 7 to 10 on Tuesdays. You can find the link in the description below, WMSC.com or iHeartRadio. And Jesse, you do some reacting, right? You did an awesome react video for Melted Bodies. You did a really good job on it.
No, I did. I didn't do any of that. Actually, I've taken a long break from reacting. I get back to it. But if you want to look at my past reaction videos and whenever I make my comeback.
Or when this is out, Jesse will have one for Melted Bodies.
Yeah. No, I already listened to it all. It's not a true reaction.
Dude, a lot of people listen to this stuff and they knew it already. You think they're authentic?
I don't do that.
You think these reaction videos are authentic, bro? Come on.
But I am. That's what people liked about me. Except for the few times that not the few times. There was one time my hard drive crashed. And I had 4 reactions. I had to that was the worst day of reactions ever because I had to re-listen to them. And then my OBS crashed, so I had to do it like a 3rd time. So I was already at like 3-4 times into it. I was like, yeah, that's a great time. I like when the guitar riff comes in. I'm just like, sucks. I hate this thing. Like, there was one song particularly that I really liked, and I was like, by the end of it, it's like, I just want to listen to the song. I don't even want to react to this. Like, I was so mad. Actually, one time I just gave up on a song too. I was like, it's just bullshit. It's fake. Like I don't like being fake, you know? Yeah, that's it. Thank you. youtube.com/c/Insid1. Hit it. Insid stream on Instagram and Twitter. But mainly follow my boy over here. Hit my YouTubes. Hit his YouTubes. Hit Melted Bodies YouTubes. Hit all the YouTubes. Subscribe. Like.
Yeah, if you guys want to watch this on another platform as well, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Apple Podcasts,
All
Castbox, all the boxes.
Yeah. Rock the cast. Stop. It's that song. Castbox. Rock.
No.
Right. It's ridiculous. All right. But that's about it. Yeah. Support everybody. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed Andy as much as we enjoyed Andy. And was that a car?
Andy?
The car. Who's it? Yeah, I gotta watch that the interview. All right, that was awesome.
All right, guys. Until next time, keep it real.